There's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. A little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, you gumpers.
Carl Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show live stream and the podcast. How you doing, podcast listeners? Be great to hear from you at Carl or on email Carl at goodmorningportugal.com, which is, of course, the email address if you want to get in touch with me about anything to do with the show, basically. So how are you this morning? I'm a little bit tired this morning. Cansado. Hope you're doing well. It's a very warm, sunny day. Looking out into the garden here in Sao Martinho de Porto. That's where our music's coming from. Every now and then we play some original music created by somebody very talented in or around our community, and it was my pleasure. There's a really lovely lad who works at Palmeira, the cafe where we have our weekly meetup, 1 till 3 every Wednesday. Lovely little gathering there yesterday, beautiful and peaceful after 10 days of partying, pretty much. For the Sant Antonio festival that's happened here in Sao Martinho de Porto over the last couple of weeks. Everything being packed down, the stage is gone, the TV show's gone, TV production crew were here last Sunday. We were on Sao Martinho Portugal, the fairground, the concessions. They've all moved on to a new town, like the lady said, who I spoke to, who showed me her bifanas in the food court. Let's call it the food court in Sao Martinho de Porto. It's a lovely area. The little bit of greenery that you've seen in our videos, T-Duck's wonderful videos, walkabouts, and of course the view looking out from the outside broadcast studio towards the sea. That had loads of food concessions and the main stage there over the last couple of weeks. Very peaceful now. We were looking across there, and it's a very different picture. And our friend Diogo was working in Palmeira Cafe. Shout out to everybody at Palmeira. Nelson's incredible cafe, very hospitable and great fun to hang out with. A good friend to us and our meetup community. And Diogo works in there. Now, I've been chatting to him for quite a little while now, and discovered he was a musician and he was into events and so on, and he was part of that. So he was going to be part of that incredible Festa music festival in St. Soldas, just outside Tomar, where, of course, we've been with one of our Learn About Portugal questions this week. And I discovered that not only is he interested in music and events, he is a musician himself. And he's going to Porto, I think, to join a music course. And I said, I've got some friends up there. Ron, we've got Rockin' Ron, haven't we? The Portuguese cowboy Ron, and the Blisses up there. And I said, I'd love to introduce you to some of our musician friends that we've got up there in the north of Portugal, in Porto. Thank you very much, he said. And he friended me up on Facebook to do this. And then I discovered his music. His band is FeMa, capital F, as you can see on the screen there, capital F, small e, capital M, small a, and then a period, punctuation, a dot, period, full stop, FeMa. And the track he's allowing me to play, which you can find on YouTube, is Darkest Night. And the video for it features the bay at San Martinho de Porto. So adding to the wonderful treasury of original music that we've been allowed to play on the Good Morning Portugal show will be FeMa. I'm pretty sure that's how he would pronounce it, FeMa, rather than FEMA, as in the American organization FEMA. And Darkest Night will be premiered, from our point of view anyway. It's the first introduction to the music of FeMa in our community. And I think he's incredibly talented, vocally, and his I was going to call her the co-host. My co-host today is Heather from Boots on the Ground Portugal. His duet partner on that track, Darkest Night, is Anya. So we'll go out with that later on this afternoon, later on in the show. I mean, and I'm guessing we're not going to be here this afternoon as Good Morning Portugal, but we will be here later on this afternoon as Expats Portugal with the wealth management webinar that Astrid was telling us about yesterday. Let me just check, make sure the Expats Portugal website is back up again. They were having some challenges yesterday morning when we spoke to Astrid. There is a wealth management webinar, and as she said, you don't have to be a millionaire to go along to a wealth management webinar. That's happening this evening at 6 p.m., not the usual time of 7:30 p.m., 6 p.m. tonight. You'll be able to join Holborn Assets and look at a few angles on making your money go a bit further. From 6 p.m., yes, Expats Portugal's website is back up. I will put a link for you in the chat now so that you can sign up for that. And of course, the Dream Team session at 9, which is always great fun. So that's where I'll be at 6 and 9, respectively, Lisbon time, Portugal time, for the wealth management webinar at 6 and the Dream Team session at 9 p.m. Link on the screen now, actually. And I'll be in the company of some of the wonderful Dream Team whose picture I'm going to bring to the screen now. Here we are having dinner together. Only Dr. Michael missing from that picture, as far as I'm aware. Gilda, look at Gilda halfway up on the right-hand side. Sarah, Nuno, Peter, and Elise from the Portugal company. Jerry tucked in there, Jackie. And it gets a little more difficult to see who's who at the back there. But Wiley, Daniel Reyes from Reyes and Pelicano. A wonderful evening at Down Under with Justin Jennings, where of course you can ask for a glass of wine with your a complimentary glass of wine with your meal, or lunch, if you mention Expats Portugal. How good is that? Just gonna have a quick cough, excuse me. Where did that come from? A very weird time to have a little bit of congestion or constipado, I would say. So there you go. And you can sign up for all of Expats Portugal's services on the link that's on the screen at the moment. How's everybody doing? Who's here this morning? Before I tell you about today's quiz question, Coach Turner is in. I'm looking forward, Coach Turner, to us having some fun dusting down the God Squad program. And from next Monday, I did my before and after pictures. No, I could only do the before pictures of the before and after section. I was thinking to myself, the before and after pictures in many ways are a bulging shirt with the buttons being pushed to their physical limit. So that was the first photo I took. But I did strip down later on in the day, and Mrs. M has photographed me semi-naked, which I think forms part of our deep thoughts from C.S. Lewis today. And so those photos will be going to Personal Best Fitness, and they're going to help me tone myself up a bit and lose a bit of the flab, along with the bedrock foundational work of the God Squad program as well. Growing Old Disgracefully and Bon Viveur Fitness, gentle fitness for Bon Viveurs. That's what we're all about in the God Squad, and that's what Coach Turner has been offering us. How long now, Coach Turner? I think we're getting on for a couple of years, aren't we, of God Squad support from you. So thank you very much for that. And talking of Growing Old Disgracefully, it is an Aging in Portugal special today. That's what we're going to be talking to Heather about. The whole notion of we're all getting older, aren't we? Let's face it, everyone is aging. As soon as you pop out into this existence, you are aging. And I suppose it becomes increasingly more poignant and an issue to be aware of or manage. The older you get, the longer you're on this planet. And Heather has of course, brought two of her parents. Well, should I say both? I know people with step parents can have more than two parents, can't they? I do say the weirdest thing sometimes, don't I? Well, a lot of the time, I think. And so she brought her parents over from the United States, of course, as she moved her whole life from the United States in the last couple of years. And she has a lot of experience in dealing with oldies, elders, living in Portugal, and has just recently moved her father into assisted living accommodation. So anything I know it's a little bit. Do we have to talk about this? We don't have to talk about it, but I think knowing what to do in the circumstance should it arise is quite useful. And Nuno will have some information to share tonight. A new insurance policy for end of life care that he's been working on. as well. So that will be very helpful on the Dream Team session. That seems to be a recurring theme for today. Growing old disgracefully and how to manage aging in Portugal. Heather will be joining us from around 9 this morning. Let's see who's here. Coach Turner's in. T-Duck is in. And I'm excited to find out more about Jaime Philippe, an amazing Portuguese inventor. We'll do that in a little while. James is in. Bom dia, Gambas. Feliz quinta a todos. Como estão? Anna's in from the south. Bom dia com alegria. A good day with joy. Thank you. Yes, as we celebrated the solstice yesterday, and more about that. The plot is thickening with the oggly boggly woo woo stuff around the solstice that came in as a result of talking about the solstice yesterday. But my deep thought of the day is the days are getting shorter, but so are my trousers. The days are getting shorter, but so are my trousers. Will I be remembered for that? Pete's in as well. Solly Finesse, Dan and Beverin. Good morning to you. I had gumbo for the first time with you. It was delicious. And we had a very emotional moment, didn't we? Talking about Father's Day or marking Father's Day last Sunday. And Bev, thank you for the strawberry cheesecake, which was a complimentary portion, which was acknowledging Father's Day and my tiny part in that. So thank you very much. Who doesn't like a tiny part first thing in the morning? So thank you very much, Bev and Dan, and we look forward to sharing your menu for. I'll probably do that tomorrow for the goodies that you're serving up on Sunday at Pit Stop here in Sao Martinho de Porto. Quite a lot of Sao Martinho de Porto references already this morning. Antonio F also in. And great to see you, Antonio, getting busy on the Learn About Portugal site, carrying on the Portuguese sayings of the day. Really appreciate that, volunteering that vital information. Oh, yes, Portuguese sayings and the Portuguese language. Raquel sent me a clip of somebody speaking Portuguese, which I think even the Portuguese struggle with. So I'm going to play it for you in a little while, and you can see yourself if you understand anything that's going on in there, including you, Antonio F., I think, this morning. Owen also in. Yeah, Parents Works covers them all. The step parents, the parents, the boyfriends, girlfriends. Yes, the extended range of parental figures. I remember being at school actually when we were moving on the early sort of parts of dealing with difference. I suppose it was just parents forever, wasn't it? And then suddenly it was parents and guardians, and parents and step parents, and probably now in schools it's quite a long list of people before you even do the register and talk about doing any learning. You're like, could you take this letter home to your parent, step parent, guardian, elder person in your home, the person who takes responsibility for you, etc., blah blah. We'll go full circle, at some point, won't we? When we get fed up, just, look, it's just shorthand for all of that list we used to say. Parent. Simply Parents Works covers them all. Cheers, James. Good morning to you, mate. Okay, let's do the Learn About Portugal quiz then this morning. We'll recover our ground from yesterday and answer that question first, shall we? Which was, oh no, that's my website. Not where am I? Where am I? Nurse, medication, please bring the screens as well. That's my website. This is, still got a website at goodmorningportugal.com. And we also have learnaboutportugal.com, where, in line with Good Morning Portugal's aim to help you learn something about Portugal every day. Has that been working, actually? Need to make sure we're not contravening the Trade Descriptions Act. Are you? Oh, Jimmy's trying to breach security and come through the patio doors at the back of the studio here. It's all right, good boy. Take it easy. We'll go for a walk after the show. Yeah, are you learning something new every day? About on the Good Morning Portugal show about Portugal? Do let me know, and also give me some heads up on some of the areas you'd like to know more about. I know there are some gaps at learnaboutportugal.com, so let me know what they are, and we'll get them filled. Who doesn't like the gaps filled first thing in the morning? Yes. Okay, yesterday's then was and I got the day wrong. I think it's because I set it up the night before. Yesterday's Learn About Portugal quiz was, as some may be considering stripping off to mingle in the menhirs and contemplate their cromlechs, where in Portugal will we find the highest concentration of prehistoric monuments in Europe? That was the question yesterday. The prehistoric pagan paraphernalia we are referring to may well have been the focal point of celebrations co-opted by Christians that we now know as the Festa de Saint João, for example, the sacred acknowledgement of cosmic alignments. And did you acknowledge the cosmic alignment yesterday at 15:57? And the seasonal changes, of course, summer solstice, has been transformed into a ritual of debauched plastic hammer blows to the heads of friends and strangers alike, especially in Porto. So are you getting your plastic hammer ready for that? And did you contemplate nature and the cosmos and the universe yesterday at 15:57 for the summer solstice? My days are getting longer and so are my shorts as a result. For extra points, hazard a guess at the age of some of those standing stones in Portugal in the comments below. Dougie ventured a guess at 5,000. I had it a bit older. Some of these monuments and prehistoric paraphernalia, as I referred to them, are 7,000 years old, or thought to be by experts. And the right answer, of course, for the highest concentration of prehistoric monuments in Europe, not just Portugal, but in Europe, the continent, was Évora in the Alentejo district, not the Peneda Gerês National Park, which you could be forgiven for thinking was the right answer. And of course, not that naughty suggestion that it might be at the golf clubs of the Algarve or Pingados's end-of-line selection. No, not prehistory in those places, although, you could argue that they are. But in the context of what we were talking about, Évora, Alentejo, and not the Parliamentary Assembly either. And we had that lovely photograph of the standing stones, the cromlechs in Évora, that Coach Turner took himself. So that's where we'll go in just a moment, after we've asked today's Learn About Portugal quiz question of the day. But that's a lovely photo from Coach Turner there. And interestingly, discussion went on in learnaboutportugal.com to portals, as they were described. I mean, they look like ley lines to me, and sites of specific interest of a spiritual, cosmic, and transcendent nature, you might say. And the usual suspects are there with those places. Fatima, Alcobaça, that's the nearest portal to me, should I need one. Alcobaça, Cristo Rei, Tomar, all on there. And look at that spine of Portugal. It's very interesting, isn't it? We don't really know much or talk much about this, but I think there's a significance to this once you start scratching the surface. And it can get quite esoteric, can it not? Because I was also sent this. Look at this. On the right, you see the Dimension Gate, which is a portal, the aforementioned. Or should it be? Yes, you've got a portal just on the right, a Dimension Gate, as it's being called there, and some ancients making their way in and out of it. Sorry, just needed to cough there, made myself laugh again. And on the left, somewhere in Portugal, often the way, isn't it, with oggly-boggly woo-woo things, the information given is a little bit indistinct. Somewhere in Portugal is not very specific, but that rock formation, that hole in the rocks, does look like the Dimension Gate on the right there. Just explaining that to you podcast listeners and those not looking at their screens right now. That really does look like a Dimension Gate, that rock formation on the left there. And I don't know where that is, somewhere in Portugal, but it comes from the meme's been made by Science of the Universe. Wow. Okay. So let's move on from that picture to this. And here are our friends Pam and John. And strangely enough, it was a year ago that this picture was taken. I was in Óbidos last night, and we were coming back from the Delgado mansion, which I must also tell you about at some point during the show today. And we came back through Óbidos, got something to eat, and we were at the famous, do you remember, the Pingados, where John had a frozen pie, which we thought was a new Portuguese speciality. And early on in the day, a year ago, we'd had this drink. What is this drink? This is today's quiz question then. Go to learnaboutportugal.com to make your guess. Today's quiz question: what are Pam and John sampling here in Portugal's medieval town of Óbidos? The beginner level of this question is name the drink. And there are two ways of saying the name, just to make it more complicated. We're in Portugal, of course, it's going to be complicated. And it's going to have a depends. It depends clause to it. Everything in Portugal does, doesn't it? Well, it depends. And I've asked Gilda this, haven't I? How do you say it depends in Portuguese? Well, it depends on what it depends you're trying to say. Anyway, beginner level of the question. Name the drink. Two possible names. Intermediate. What is special about the cup or copo? And advanced. When asked com elas or sem elas, what might the pourer of the drink mean by saying com elas? St. Elish. What are they referring to? Nice one. Dougie's got us off the mark. He says it's easy, and he thinks he's got 2 of those 3 parts of the question correct there. So there you go. And that's question of the day, to which we will return later on. We're going to go and look at the God Squad tip of the day now, as we anticipate the arrival of Heather Binder of Boots on the Ground, Portugal. Oh, some guesses coming in as well. Thank you. Well done, Pete. Looks like it has seen a lot of action. Was that the portal? Carl, thanks for showing us your ancient dilapidated ring this morning. Peter, honestly. And cheers, Antonio F, for your guess as well. Was that a guess from you, Matty? No, not yet. That's a bon dia alegria todos de Pombal nublado. Bit cloudy over there in Pombal in central Portugal. Pete's enjoying at the moment bright sunshine and clear skies at the moment. Oh, I see. Yes, because Pete's keeping an eye on the farm over there, isn't he? And that's closer to Pete's neck of the woods. Okay, Coach Turner then. God Squad tip of the day. Oh, no, hold on a minute. He's off to have a windscreen replaced this morning. So we'll catch up later. It's the second one of our newish car. What's going on? Really annoying and probably a measure of how bad UK roads are. Oh, you've had chips of you flying up and chipping your screen there. Yikes. God Squad tip of the day from you, Coach Turner. We've looked at the science behind 3 different benefits of walking, any one of which is enough to make it worthwhile. But one of the most important is controlling blood sugar levels. Oh, my word. I bought some bola de Berlins. Talking about blood sugar levels, I bought a box of bola de Berlins last night. I thought the kids were going to help me eat them. I couldn't stop. I was tucking into some of that delightful custard in a donut last night, which I'm sure would have spiked my blood sugar levels. Should have gone for a walk. In fact, we did go for a little walk in Obidosh, and we found some delightful little kittens, some stray kittens. The mama cat was there, knowing that people were coming to the picnic area, and her little kittens, 2 tabbies, 2 black cats, were hidden in the undergrowth, and they appeared for a little bit of chicken. There have been a number of studies recently showing that moderate exercise after eating reduces glucose spikes in the blood. Indeed, with careful monitoring, it is recommended for diabetics. So is this going for a little constitutional after a meal? I mean, we used to do that, didn't we, back in the day? Didn't people go for a little turn around the room, at least, if not the park, after dinner or on the promenade? Promenading. Reducing the level of post-meal spikes helps to lower the stress on many of the body's systems and can reduce the chance of long-term illness. So perhaps find a way of taking a short walk after a meal and not just taking your plate into the kitchen, kids. We could make them come back and forth, couldn't we, to make sure they don't get glucose spikes in the bloodstream. But yeah, go around the block, take the dog for a walk, take your imaginary dog for a walk. Why not? Adopt a dog if you have the right circumstances in which to do so. There are dogs that need adopting here in Portugal. Get a dog, go for a walk around the block after dinner. Go dogging. No, that's different. Build it into your normal routine and enjoy. I bet that brings your glucose spikes down. Build it into your normal routine and enjoy the experience. It will pay multiple dividends. The benefits then of walking, great exercise, I have to say. And I bless my dogs for getting me out of the house a couple of times a day. Bon dia alegria. And we do a lot of walking apart from that, actually. Walking is great exercise and it's natural. More natural without your shoes on, but notwithstanding the warnings given by Peter Bleach earlier on of stepping on various things in Portugal, like scorpions, snakes, and even just sharp things and dog poo. Choose your moments of barefootedness wisely. Bon dia alegria gumpers from T-Duck. First full day of summer. The days are getting shorter, but so are my trousers. C.S. Lewis has got a better deep thought than me. Eros will have naked bodies. Friendship, naked personalities. And that is a really nice way of looking at friendship, isn't it? Is when your personality can get naked. When you know you're friendly with somebody, when your naked personalities are mingling. Very nice. Clive Staples, Lewis, also noted for his other works of fiction, such as the Screwtape Letters and the Space Trilogy. Has anybody read those? We know him best, don't we, for the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, etc. So has anyone read the Screwtape Letters or the Space Trilogy? Or was it so long ago you've read them, but you can't remember a single thing that you read in those books? Isn't that amazing? The time and effort devoted to certain things like reading. And for the life of you can't remember what you read until you read it again. It's like a movie, isn't it? A movie that you've seen before. And then as soon as you see it, it's like, yeah, I remember this now. It's incredible. Quem sabia then, we have been looking at the wonderful inventions of Jean-Philippe. In 1971, Jean-Philippe registered a patent for a machine that reads to the blind called the Letex. It was based on a musical instrument, the orchestrola, which Philippe built in 1959. We have pictures of both of these devices. But before we go there, shout out to Portuguese inventiveness. Oh, this was his invention yesterday. Not the wheelchair, but the lift, the elevator that takes people in wheelchairs up and down stairs there. Well done, Jean-Philippe. There he is. I want to just shout out to Portuguese inventiveness of a different kind. I was remarking on this the other day, wasn't I? This device for carrying many beers. That seems so Portuguese on so many levels, doesn't it? The inventiveness and, of course, the amount of beers there, Sagres or Superboc, presumably in that holder. And when I mentioned that, Antonio F said, well, but look at Bairandi. If I take that comment out of the way, Bairandi is pretty amazing himself there. He's taking a photograph whilst holding a beer and a bifana. That takes some skill, doesn't it? That reminds me of my teenage years where I was able to dance holding a pint of beer and a kebab at times, not spilling a drop of kebab grease on my probably my expensive shoes that I'd saved up for as a teenager, or beer for that matter. I remember actually doing a forward roll holding a pint or certainly a glass of beer and a kebab in the other hand. And I think I managed to perform the entire forward roll without, I don't know how much I hurt myself, but certainly the kebab was and beer were preserved in this miraculous move. It happens, doesn't it, when you've had one or two, or it can do. Yes, I can't judge other people by my standards. Anyway, back to Jean-Philippe. Here's a blueprint. Little, not easy to read, but you get the gist there of a keyboard device. And which then, of course, is connected with another device. So we're talking about the orchestrola and the Letex device. That's the orchestrola there, which looks like a wonderful science fiction-y type sound-making synthesizer that would have been found in the RTP studios where Jean-Philippe would be found in the 70s and 80s. And let's find out more about this invention then. Jean-Philippe, our celebrated Portuguese inventor of the week. And I've lost, as I think you might guess, the information. Where is it? I've lost my comments. Oh, no, here we go. We learned the first part, didn't we? Quem sabia then, Jean-Philippe registered a patent for a machine that reads to the blind called the Letex. And it was based on that instrument that you can see on the screen now, the orchestrola, which Philippe built in 1959. My goodness, I'm dating him a bit late there, aren't I, in the 70s and 80s. So he was making things 50s, 60s, probably 70s and 80s. I think old inventors just keep going, don't they? The text reader for the visually impaired would have magnetic discs with audio recordings of each letter and phonetic sounds. Could we find a recording of that, I wonder? I'll do a little bit of research later and see if we can find that. I mean, I'm watching, while I'm doing research for the Learn About Portugal quiz, I'm watching so many of those videos with, this is Lisbon, Portugal, and this is a robotic voice telling you about it. Those videos are so hard to listen to, aren't they? And I imagine this would have been a boon to people who are visually impaired. But I imagine it would have been a little bit stilted back in those days. But anyway, we'll find out. We'll do a bit of research. Television camera scans the page. You would have had access to all this kit, recognizes the text and triggers the audio recordings of the letters and sounds to be played. Jean-Philippe, you legend. There is no evidence, though, that this early optical character reader was ever constructed, but the idea was patented by Jean-Philippe in 1971. Total and utter legend. You are T-Duck, and thank you so much for your support of the show and everything you do for us. As is Jean-Philippe, total and utter legend. Incredible. We're coming up to 9 o'clock where we're going to welcome Heather Binder of Boots on the Ground Portugal. There you go. There's the blueprint. Another quick look at the blueprint there of the Letex machine. And we'll come back to the screen now. There you go. And see if anyone else has joined us before we welcome before we welcome Heather Binder on the screen. Let's welcome other people who might have joined us. Pete, missing Wiley's property selections. Me too. That was a lot of fun, wasn't it? Becky G. Rogers is here as well. G. Rogers. That sounds very Portuguese, Becky G. Ha ha ha! Can't beat a bit of your cheesy humour. What? How very dare you? Stick around for the dad jokes. Later on, Becky, I hope your daughter had a great day on her birthday a few days ago. I'm sure I'm sure for going dogging, you meant meet up with others for a nice dog walk. Of course I did. What did you think I meant, Becky G. Rogers, coming in here, accusing me of having cheesy humour? Look, our poster boy this morning, João de Norte, is here. Hola, bom dia, alegria a todos. Just fix some irrigation spray issues. Who doesn't like to fix their irrigation spray issues first thing in the morning? Today is about aging in Portugal. Perhaps your irrigation spray issues might come up. Not just yours, João, because yours are sorted by the sound of it. Anyway, now off on chores and hiking in the Peneda Gerês with the twins. Wow, what a great day ahead there. And Nubianet also. Oh, how's it going, Nubianet, who is in Marseille right now, but people still think I'm Portuguese. A guy came up talking to the man next to me and said something about Portuguese. All of a sudden, there was a pause, a look at me, and they continued. Look at that. I think changing the subject. Another man asked if I was Brazilian as well. Incredible. You have an amazing trip, Nubianet. You can join us on the screen to tell us about it one of these days, I wonder. Okay, lots of chat going on in the chat, which of course is the right place for the chat. Thank you all for being here. Cindy Vine being mentioned as well this morning. Let's come back to the chat a little bit later on. Let's welcome now to the screen Heather. Oh, Boots on the Ground, Portugal.
Hello.
Hola, bom dia, alegria. How are you, Heather?
Bon dia. I'm good. Good.
Excellent. Lovely to see you. I'm already hypnotized and transfixed on your
By
mic.
this microphone?
It's a lava lamp.
Oh, I wanted a lava lamp again, actually. I don't know where I'd put it, but I love lava lamps.
It's not a microphone. You're just sat there with a lava lamp in front of you.
No, it is my beautiful microphone. Normally, I have like a stand under this, so you don't actually see it, but I thought I'd show it off because it actually is kind of awesome. And it's entertaining, see?
It is. I am fixated on it. I'm drifting away into a state of hypnosis. Now, Astrid started this yesterday. Would you like to touch the lucky cockerel that you see in front of you?
Would I like to touch the lucky cockerel?
I've said that out loud.
That seems like a loaded question.
I feel very inappropriate, I have to say, and I'm not going to mention it again. I think we should just move on.
I'm not going to take it personally, but I'm also not going to answer because I don't actually know anything about what that's in reference to. So I'm going to say
that is the right answer. That is the right answer, and I think the least said, as my one-time mother-in-law used to say, least said, soonest mended. It's Astrid's to blame. The Barcelos cockerel is in front of me now, and not you. And she was stroking the cockerel when she arrived yesterday, and then I just thought other guests might like to do that. And the more I say about it, the more awkward I feel about it. So let's move on and talk about aging in Portugal, which you said the other day. You're helping your dad, of course, move into assisted living accommodation, and
yes.
This is something we can talk about today, and that fits within a whole range of subject matter topic that is to do with aging in Portugal and having old folks with you in Portugal. You moved here with your mum and dad. Sadly, your mum's no longer with us, but your dad has moved into a new stage of his life, which has been supported and managed and researched, I think, extensively by you as well. So there's a lot to talk about in this whole business of aging in Portugal. And again, that is subject matter within subject matter, because of course you moved to Portugal, you brought everything, including your family and pets, who of course are your family, to Portugal.
Right.
You've learned so much doing that, and now that's what Boots on the Ground Portugal is all about. You helping people do the same.
Sure, we do. Yeah, we do everything from NIFs to visas. Visa being, kind of the big thing that we do, and all sorts of specialty consulting and just everything under my umbrella, which is a pretty big umbrella of experience. And I keep adding to it, Carl. Like, I just want to chill out, but
so before we talk about the aging part then and working with oldies here, what have you recently added then to your repertoire?
Well, wildlife rescue is my latest. So
Okay.
my girlfriend comes over yesterday and had there was a bird in the middle of the road that was injured, just sitting in the middle of the road, and there's a lorry driving over it and cars
Oh
and everything like
no.
that. Yeah, and so my two friends are there and they're coming over to my house and they stop and they pick up the bird, and next thing I know there's an injured dove in my care. And yeah, so I named him Marvin because he's messy, so it's like Messy Marvin. And if there's
Of
any,
course.
that's maybe a US reference, I don't know. Anyways, he's still here, which is really good news because it's been about almost 24 hours and he's still alive, so that's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I started with late last night and this morning, is trying to get him to take a birdie antibiotic and water, trying to get him to eat, which is my big task for the day. I have a parrot, so luckily I'm kind of a be prepared person. And so I have brought with me a doxycycline, which is an antibiotic, and it's bird specific. Anyone freaking out over there? And it's a powdered.
You have to be so careful, don't you, when you're dealing with
Well,
animals?
you do
Yeah.
because, there's always somebody. But that's the big risk, is that it might have been a cat that messed up this bird, and cats are best inside because they really do quite a number on wildlife and particularly birds. And so, anyways, that's my latest thing, but doesn't mean I'm an expert, that's for sure. But it's also a good point because there's really like limited resources. Like in the US, I have a friend that lives an hour and a half from me who's a professional, well, not a, I guess professional, but she's like a licensed, certified, whatever, wildlife rehabber. And
Really?
I don't know if there's anybody out there like that here. If
I've never heard of that.
anybody has experience with getting food into a soft bill bird, let me know. And if you don't know what that means, then you don't have experience.
Listen to the lack of compassion flowing from Pombal this morning. So you're going
Am
to
I
save
going to
a
save a
rat?
rat with wings? Um, yeah, you know what?
Matty,
Pigeon,
what's
let me
right?
just say one thing.
Yeah.
Pigeons are beautiful birds. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with pigeons. Stop being mean to pigeons.
Yes,
And
Matty.
stop letting your kids run up to them and scream at them and flap around and make them fly away. Really
Okay, I will.
pisses me off.
I will. All right. Sorry about that.
Yeah, don't let your kids do that, Carl. If your kids are
All
doing
right.
that,
Okay, all right.
because guess what?
Pick up
They're
the message.
animals. They are creatures, and there's nothing wrong with them. And in the U.S., if they get out of control, they're a nightmare. But guess what? If we have too many people in a small area, that's a nightmare. I mean, it's not about the particular, species. It just is what it is. So yes, I'm
Yes.
helping a rat with
That's right.
wings.
Yes.
But
The over concentration is the problem, not the species.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
And
man.
doves are beautiful. And my girlfriend that's helping me from the U.S. with advice and so forth has 9 parrots, and also has had a dove that she
Oh,
saved. She saved
yeah.
2 doves that were rescued, one of which lived 16 years in her care.
Good
So
heavens. So,
yes,
and
so
you are looking after a dove and not a pigeon, it would appear. So Matty's
it's a
jumping.
dove, not a pigeon, but I would help a pigeon just the same. I did try to save a baby pigeon once, but that didn't work. They're tricky.
There's a
So,
lot of
anyways,
pigeon prejudice. Pigeons are just horrible. Heather, try living in London where the exclusive diet is used condoms and crisp wrappers and they all have one leg. Um,
the problem there is London. The
is
problem
he
there is
talking about,
not the pigeons. You're talking
yes,
about
well said.
used condoms. I mean, what does a
Exactly.
pigeon
Well
have to do
said.
with that?
Well said. And is he talking about Londoners and their exclusive diet, or is he talking about the pigeons? No,
I don't know,
I
but
know,
I,
I know
I'm
a lot of
I'm
Londoners with two legs.
I am very welcoming. I am friendly to, uh, you know, almost, I would say, if not everything under the sun, relatively. It doesn't mean I want them in my house, people
Right.
or critters, but yeah, I don't really
Critters.
get the whole, you know,
Hatred. The hatred thing.
well, like I have an African gray parrot. She's worth money. Like she's cool. She talks. She's all this
Yes.
thing. And you know what my fiance calls her? Gray pigeon. He called it. How's your gray
Oh,
pigeon?
that's a wind
Like,
up, isn't it?
yeah.
That is a wind up right there.
Because guess what? She's about the size of a pigeon and she's gray.
Yes, yeah. So there's a little bit of work to do with this pigeon prejudice, I think. Think again, think
There
again.
is.
And speaking of rats, We didn't expect to be talking about this morning, did
Rats do make great pets. Actually, they're
we?
very intelligent. They're very
Yeah,
sweet.
that's right.
And I've enjoyed the company of a rat or two before. So
Well, I never. I have a pigeon coop. A coop?
breeding in
Breed-
my vines.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Is that why he's upset? Because he doesn't like people breeding in his vines? Maybe. So
No,
that's a bit
I
of
do not
ins-
disturb their nest. Good job. Thank you for letting
yeah.
critters be critters. And for you people driving by these pigeons on the road or this animal herd on the road,
Didn't even
it's
help,
sad.
didn't it? And I love it. We have to come to all this sudden outburst of conversation to do with pigeons. I think we'll come
I
back to.
know I'm gonna get yelled at because I need to talk about about other things.
No, no, I think this is important and interesting. But
Well, it
what I
is
love, what,
important, and
yeah,
once my girlfriend moves here, we're probably gonna do some, volunteer type stuff to either create some sort of at least information available and education available because, honestly, the education and, uh information is so like 10 years ago or longer when it comes to
okay,
parrots and so I'm guessing wildlife because if you don't know how to take care of an African gray parrot well, which they don't in this country for the most part, then you don't know how to take care of all sorts of wildlife and things like that that might need help here and there.
bit of
So
a theme.
that'll be down the road, and when I launch that I'll let you know.
Well, thank you, thank you. We can go into it, can't we? In a different special. Bruce Joffe felt some heat yesterday, talking about stray and neglected dogs as well. So it's a bit of a theme,
Oh,
and it needs to be dealt with sensitively, of course, doesn't it, by us foreigners and incomers? And I'm sure we will do that. But what I love about this, where you started this particular story, Heather, is you are the person people think of who is the helper. It probably is your Myers-Briggs analysis, isn't it? Okay, we found a dove in the road. What do we do? Well, we just take it to Heather, of course. She'll know what to do.
I'm a challenger
Right.
helper.
Okay.
So I'm kind of like a bossy helper.
Yes. Yes. I think
But I
that's a
get things
fair
done,
analysis. You
like
get stuff
I'm
done.
there. So yeah. So I like the Myers-Briggs, the Enneagram, like there's a new one I've been reading about. Yeah, it's all really fascinating stuff to me. And can help you, do better and address your challenges better.
Right.
But yeah, I there's always some new challenge. And so I will get back to topic, which
No, I
my
can't let you do that yet. I can't let you do that.
oh,
Sorry.
okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
there's so much more to say on pigeons, and then we
All right,
will
go ahead.
definitely. I
It's
mean,
it's all it's
are
all
you
on Carl if you're gonna
Are you
bitch.
okay? Are you okay for an extended stay this morning? Are you all right till, let's say, quarter to the hour? Because we do have a fair bit to talk about.
I'm good until 10 easily. So yeah,
Yay!
yeah.
Excellent stuff. Okay, all right. That's good to
I
know.
get to go to
All right.
IMT this afternoon. Talk
Oh, and
about fun.
anything I can do to stop you doing that, I'm sure is a
No,
blessing.
I'm actually really excited because IMT is like DMV, right? So
Yeah.
driver's
Yeah.
license stuff, and
Uh-huh.
it's kind of the final piece. My fiance, we're going to do his biometrics, so that means he's all good, should be all good for his driver's license, and all we have to do is turn in the paperwork today, and that is something I help people with, and sometimes people
I
say
love
it's
it.
easy. I saw
Yes.
someone comment recently saying it's easy. That's awesome. You know what? Anytime somebody gets through something easy in Portugal, good for you.
Good for you.
Good
Absolutely
for
right.
you. Getting a new tent, a health number, easy.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
Not always.
no, not always.
Yeah. And depends where you are because
It depends
we
where you are. In Caldish,
yeah.
it's a bit of a nightmare, and I have a friend over 8 months. She couldn't get it. I myself originally tried to do many things myself, which is part of how my business came to be, because I faced the difficulties and I realized there are some really good alternatives, but people don't have ready access to it,
Mm,
which is working with locals. And I have a local gal that works with me and is amazing, and a couple locals actually. And anyways, yeah, see, 9 months waiting for driver's license. Yeah. So it's not easy. But needless to say, this is our final piece, was my point, because my fiance was the last one to come in March of 2022. There you go. And so we've actually been able to do his license for a few months now. But we just haven't gone to IMT because life has been a little chaotic, because I've been dealing with my mother passing away 7.5 months ago. Sadly, rather, she was sick, but still unexpected. and then my father and grieving and all the things, and getting him to the point where the decision was made that we needed to move him.
Okay. All right. So, and let's go further into that story after we've resolved the
Okay.
points that are coming in. Driving license exchange.
I know. So yeah.
He's laughing quite a lot. However, there is a sweet spot issue here because we did say it depends on where you are in the country.
Well, it's
We
not
have
even
you.
where you are. Like, there's no magic sauce. There's no secret sauce. Okay. With Portugal,
You are the secret sauce. Come on.
well, okay, I'll take that. But
Yeah.
the reality is people will come to me for things. And if it is something that, I know people have gotten easily, but also not. Brought him a license.
Sorry, I'm
4 times.
distracted.
Okay, that's okay. I was reading the dove.
We'll come
Okay.
back to
I was hoping someone was like, I'm a wildlife rehabber and I live 10 minutes from your house. No. Okay.
it. Could happen. It could happen.
If
Yes.
it's out there, like, need help getting food in this bird.
Okay.
Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, if something's easy, I
Where
tell
you are.
people,
Where you are.
you're welcome to try it. Uh, go for it. And if it works for you, like your health number. I have a client, in fact, who's a neighbor, and uh her name's Melissa, and she said to me, what about the help with the health number? And I said, try it. If you get it in a couple weeks, cool. If you don't, and it's longer than that, and you're, twiddling your thumbs, let me know, and then we can go from there. So now I only can help in Caldish area with health number, unfortunately.
Okay.
But I think attorneys can help other places. I don't know
Yeah.
what their magic is there, but I don't have all the magic. But I have a lot of the
You
magic.
got a lot more than most. And my theory about location is there's a sweet spot, which is it's a bit like the pigeons. If there's a high concentration of people, getting stuff done in Lisbon is difficult for a number of reasons. Lots of people, and I think overwhelmed staff and overworked staff, so you can get a particular situation. We heard
True.
yesterday of somebody who got their license done very quickly, all online, submitting documents, then got emails saying received, reviewed, emails saying to make an appointment for document collection, which was yesterday, all done
Well,
and dusted. Now, the other
well,
part of that, of course, is if
is
you're
easy. Yeah, that is easy. That's not the hard part. The hard part is knowing what information to get exactly from your
yes,
country,
yes,
getting it apostilled or whatever it may be, getting it notarized, getting a certificate from your country, depending on the country. That whole thing is honestly the harder part. And then just knowing that, like, okay, you now have this piece of paper, at least for Americans and Canadians, as an example, and you need to put this thing aside for uh, a year
hmm
while you move here, while you get your residency card, while you get your health number,
yeah,
and then get your medical. And it's not hard. Does so because something's not hard doesn't mean it's not complex or confusing, right?
yeah, yeah.
So
And the fact that somebody got something done quickly
yes,
can belie the fact that there has been a complex process,
right.
and they've been quite lucky or fortunate in that complex
They
process.
have, and but it's not hard to go to IMT, fill out a few things, upload your stuff, and submit. And
Yeah.
it's not hard to get a email and a text saying you're good.
Yep. I'm not sure what Matty's talking to here,
Kicked
but
back.
he's talking about a syringe with a small rubber pipe at the end. I don't know if that's maybe something dealing with John's irrigation problem.
No, that's the dove. But you can't syringe feed unless you are an experienced, like, tube
yeah.
feeder. And
How would you
and
like it, Matty?
but yes, I do have syringes. I did orphan kittens, as you know, recently, a few months
Oh my
ago.
goodness. Yeah.
And yeah, and they're a couple months old now. And my girlfriend who brought me the dove has the kittens. And she's gonna adopt the dove
That's
see
is
if
that
we
what
get him to
happens then?
survive.
You take an animal to Heather and you get one back, maybe a different species.
So
Okay.
if you know anything about a dove, which I really can't say I knew a lot, their beaks are extremely long, extremely thin and tiny because it's a little teeny thing. And yeah, the idea is you get the beak open and you shove the food in. Correct. And that's how I got him to take some food yesterday. But I also had a second set of hands. So I was able to hold him I was able to open his beak, and then my girlfriend was able to put his food in the mouth.
I've
And
been in that situation as a human being. It reminds me of a time I went for a job as a personal assistant for a man with complex disabilities.
oh,
His team leader assistant, as part of the job interview, and my girlfriend at the time was quite upset about hearing about this. The team leader fed me. I had to sit there while she fed me, and I think, looking back now, I think this might have been a slightly dodgy job interview, but it was a good point to make. I thought at the
I
time.
don't
So
think
how
that's
would you?
dodgy. I think that it puts you in the shoes of the person you're
I totally
assisting,
get it.
right?
Yeah, absolutely, and I took it on that basis. But then when I told other people, they're like, that's a bit odd, isn't it?" There are ways of doing these things, as there are feeding baby doves, as we're discovering this morning.
Right.
There are a lot that we have a lot of hairs coursing in this conversation. The other thing I wanted to say, Heather, about where you are in terms of paperwork and things, is that sometimes you can be in a part of the country that hasn't done the process you're talking about ever or for a very long time, or those particular
Yes.
staff haven't. We tried to do our residency in the little town of Oreng in central Portugal. We made some delightful Portuguese friends of these two Portuguese ladies who spoke French with us, because we didn't speak much Portuguese at the time, and they didn't have a clue what to do, but we had a lot of fun talking with them. And they sent us off on all sorts of wild goose chases, and that can happen. If so you got a sweet spot, haven't you? Ideally, you don't want to go to an IMT or a CEF that's really, really busy, and you don't want to go to one that never does any processing of people because they don't know what to do and are out of practice. There's a real nice sweet spot. Caldash might be good for some of those, but if
I
not
think
all.
Caldish, aside from the utent, is a sweet spot, but supposedly the utents are being processed in some central location now, but who knows? You hear these things and you
You do.
really wonder,
We hear a lot, don't we? And we
you
must
hear
come
a
back to
lot.
the Learn About Portugal quiz, which I think
Yes.
you'll ace that this morning. But
Oh
I
gosh,
think
don't quiz me. That's like mean.
no, you'll be great at this.
I'm not great at. I'm great at a lot of things, but we'll see.
All right, we will see.
Not a lot.
So
Not quizzes.
with the
Nibbles
birds,
for birds.
nibbles for
Yeah,
peanut
no.
grain, rolled oats,
Peanuts.
insects chopped. Ooh,
Peanuts
chopped.
are actually a fungus and can actually be dangerous for
Yeah,
birds.
George. Thank you, George, for being here this morning. Sunflower
But thanks.
hearts, raisins, suet pellets, fat balls, as sometimes they're called, which can get you in a lot of
I
trouble in
have
the
millet.
paper.
I have Harrison's pellets, which are like super high quality. Can't even easily get here. Parrot
Yeah.
food, and that will work fine. It's not a matter of what I have. Food. I have food, and I
People are
have
just
an.
trying to help, aren't they? We love this. There is an
Yes,
outbreak.
I do appreciate it.
Yeah, some are not trying to help, those pigeon haters among us. But anyway, James says to you, pigeon haters, there are pigeon fanciers, aren't there, and pigeon haters? I wonder where
Sure.
those pigeons get that food. So again, the fingers point back at the humans, do they not? Every time.
I think my people are the pigeon, neutral to pigeon
Pigeon
positive.
neutral, pigeon positive. How would you like to identify yourselves this morning? Pigeon positive, not for some
Pigeon positive.
Pigeons.
That's going to be a new thing. It's not going to be like she, her. It's going to be like
Pigeon
pigeon positive.
or
I'm
identifying
pigeon
as a pigeon.
positive, she, her.
Yes. Yep. Well, let's see. I wouldn't be at all surprised if that happens before the end of the show. Pigeons were bred to eat people. Stop. What? We're bred to eat.
Eat
Punctuation can
people's-
kill.
Yeah, punctuation can kill.
That's the
People
sort of
stop
thing that.
using
Okay,
funny.
pigeons were bred. If
There's
I
too
get my
many.
shit out
There's too
here.
many freaking people. Like, yeah, there's too
Oh,
many.
don't
of a
start
lot
with
of
that,
people.
Heather. But that's not a reason
What?
for pigeons. That's not a reason for pigeons to eat them, to be fair.
No.
Pigeons were bred to eat, full stop. People stopped eating them in the US. There's too many. In my city, the crows, who I think are there because of past fires, are chasing them away. The crows are even worse.
Crows and fire? Your show is really confusing, Carl.
One of our lodgers brought pigeons back, and we told them that we had taken it to a rescue center. Amazed he missed the wing-shaped stomach of the cat.
The cat.
That is a sorry end, isn't it?
I
Oh,
love
dear.
cats, but I really like them inside where they don't hurt wildlife and they're lazy and happy.
Well, I met
Pigeons are beautiful.
loads of
Thank
cats.
you.
Take a minute.
Yes, they are
Yeah.
beautiful. They're very iridescent. Really pretty.
And when I lived in central Portugal, there was a bar. Actually, I could see these pigeons being released from my house by a pigeon fancier. And that noise they make as they fly past you, that and the flapping of the wings. I love that. And the colors, absolutely right, James.
Very
Beautiful
pretty.
translucence. If you can overcome your prejudices, of which there are many in the community this morning, they are hideous. You see, they're like this. Have you ever seen a squab? I haven't seen a baby pigeon. Where are they? Try looking at a hooper or European bee-eater. So pretty. Diversity, Peter, diversity.
Carl, we're gonna get in trouble if we don't talk about old people.
All right, we'll do it at 9:30. The absolute limit
Okay, all right.
on the pigeon chat.
Okay,
Cats are
cats,
killing,
100%,
not
and
100% in the house, but are killing any bird
then
they can get. About 75% of all bird killings. Yeah, cats. And if pigeons are eating garbage, consider the animal species that are leaving it all around to be eaten. Yeah.
I
Oh my.
like hug a slug. Yes.
Yes, I found a baby dove on the street. Says, "Morning, Alan," who is in Spain this morning, I believe. I brought him to a licensed wild rehabilitator. He said that the doves are the only bird species that breed 4 times a year. Lucky doves.
Wow, that's a lot.
That
Yeah.
is it. Yeah.
Lucky doves.
I mean,
That's a male perspective.
it is. Isn't it? I mean, someone was talking about dogging earlier. This is doving, which is a bit different, I think. If you ever hear of the specialist activity called doving, you now know what that
Doving.
means.
Okay, because yeah, I was going back to the rubber, whatever the heck you asked me to
What? Rub the lucky cockerel 4 times a year.
Doving. It just seems like it's one of those like new
Right.
sex terms or something that you don't know what it means and you have to
Every
Google
day
it and then
there's
you're
a
like,
new-
oh,
Yeah,
geez,
it's
okay.
hard to keep up, and you know what I mean by that. It's hard to keep up with these new terms that come out, it seems, every single day. Doving is not one of them. We just made that up this morning. And with the 3 minutes to go, before we talk about aging in Portugal, you mentioned as well, you prefaced your comments about the dove. I'm not a licensed person before anyone gets started out there. This concerned citizen thing, we were feeding stray cats last night. And I said to Mrs. M, any minute now, a well-meaning expat is going to come out and tell us off for feeding chicken to these kittens here. And that is a thing, isn't it? You've got a subset of expats who know better than the other expats who are just doing something.
No, it's you have a subset of people that really need hobbies, maybe need a little bit of doving. Ooh, I got him on that one.
You so got me there. Yes, it's true.
They just need something to do. They need to be positive. They need to change their attitude and their outlook on life. And they need to stop with the, gossipy and the whole thing. So I think that, and of course, that means there's a subset of expats that are the same way.
Yeah, okay. And it's called being a concerned citizen, isn't it? There's a slight sort of sarcasm when one uses the phrase concerned citizen, like over concerned, perhaps.
I just, I don't want to say I'm a know-it-all because I work hard to, be open to things because I'm not an expert in everything for sure. And there's so many different experiences and so forth that people have. But there's a balance. I think there's a balance there of like having knowledge and experience, but yet being open to others. Knowledge and experience, and I think some of these people that are like, I know how to cut an avocado and therefore the whole world should cut an avocado the way I cut an avocado.
Quite.
Need to kind of,
loosen up a bit.
Lighten up a little bit,
Yeah, come on, do that. Filomena's here. Hola, bon dia, boa quinta-feira. Just to find out. Good morning to you, Filomena. I really enjoyed sharing your video of you.
Mulberry jam.
She's got some jam from Pete's.
Mulberry.
Peach's pet has got some jam.
I'm jealous of that.
That does look good, doesn't it? And final comment, probably not. No, there are 2 more. There are 3 more. Seagulls are aggressive. They attack pigeons and even cats. Kittens and a pigeon. You have the solution to your problem is staring you in the face, Heather. Sadly, because doves are docile. Now, this is the moment to end this bit of the discussion on, isn't it? Doves are docile, and they are the primary.
Let's just love each other and animals too.
Doves are
I do mean that.
Doves are the symbol of docility. Is that the right word?
They are. Like you release doves at your wedding, although don't do that. Yes. I don't think that's good necessarily, unless they're like have a home or I don't know what homing. Well, those are pigeons. I don't know what I'm talking about. Not an expert in that.
I think it's okay if you're the owner of an ark. Releasing a dove just to see what's going on outside is a good idea. And doves are a beautiful symbol of peace. And of course, they are go about their business only to be snatched from the ground by a raptor or a peat bleach or matty. But there they are, displaying a sense of unguarded peacefulness, which we can learn from. So maybe that could be the last word.
No, I'm going to say one more thing, which is
Go on.
I said my friend that brought the dove over would take the dove and give the dove a home. That is only if the dove is not releasable. We really hope, of course, to release the dove back into the wild so Marvin can go on to be a wild dove. But
Marvin the wild dove.
That remains to be seen. So we'll think good thoughts for Marvin.
Well said, before we get some hot mail from a concerned citizen.
Well, no, I think it's important because people think like, oh, I'll just catch this thing and then I'll make it my pet. And it's like, I have a parrot because she came from a rescue. She already existed. I didn't buy her from a breeder or take her out of the wild. And that doesn't mean that's never happened, because I had a bird when I was like 12 years old that was caught in the wild. I know that. And, that's life. But things have changed. People are more enlightened and so forth. But yes, if you catch wildlife, please let wildlife go if it can then take care of itself.
Flipping heck. Is this James going, we can't stop talking about this, can we?
Okay, and I love the hug a slug because we're talking about spaying and neutering. So yes, spay and neuter your animals. And then let's talk about aging.
Humans can also breed 4 times a year. Not if they're spayed and neutered, they can't.
Not the same woman.
Yeah.
Again, male perspective.
Yeah, and the invention of the harem. Oh my goodness, this is a wide-ranging conversation this morning. But James is going all concerned citizen on me. Capturing and neutering, spraying feral cats is far more helpful than simply, all right, but there we were. We had chicken and we saw scrawny little kittens.
No, that's good because it also warms them up, and that's good because then the next step could be somebody that captures them, gets them spayed neutered. Only that I'm going to shut up because it's a whole nother subject.
All right. Okay. Aging in Portugal. Let's see if we can talk about that.
But I can talk about that another day.
Okay. Next time you come, I think it probably needs to be an animal special, doesn't it?
Yeah, I could definitely. Yeah, we do.
Your own YouTube channel talking about animals. I think possibly there's so much love for it this morning. Well, a mixture of
love and hate. There was
quite. People have been very open. And I like that about this community. People are very frank, and we do engage in quite a robust and frank way. So well done. Keep it up, everybody. Aging in Portugal, however, I don't know where you want to start this conversation, but of particular interest was your dad's experience recently.
Yeah, so I'm going to start really at the semi beginning, which is my mom passing away. My mom passed away 7.5 months ago. So I went through, dealing with that with my dad, and my parents live in the lower level of our house. It's a 3-family house, basically. And they had a 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath space. That was about 1,900 square feet, 180 square meters. Well, that's the way I do the math. So in other words, a big space. And my dad was coming out of the master bedroom on one side of the house, going to the other side of the house to his man cave, and never using the 3rd room, the dining room, the eating kitchen, or the living room. So basically a massive part of this house was just unused. So I was trying to get him to use the living room at least so I could do something more productive with the other 2 bedrooms. And he said, no, just move all the stuff into my master suite. So we turned his master suite. We moved the, electric recliners in there, and we changed the bed from the king size to the single, he has adjustable bed. And so we set that all up. So we kind of had everything in there. And the funny part of that is that right around the corner, literally right outside his door around the corner, is the kitchen. And he had mentioned a couple times how perfect it would be if he could just get a mini fridge in his room. Then he just didn't have to leave. Okay. So we were, and I mean, literally there's an American size, big, beautiful new refrigerator, really close. So it was kind of funny. But what happened is not so funny, but it brings up a couple good points. One is get or bring or order from Amazon Germany, as an example, like I did, smoke detectors. I don't know why they are not code here.
True.
But They're not.
Yes, they're not. That's an
And
interesting thing here, isn't
I
it?
seriously think that prevented a fire. That in a combination. I was actually in Lisbon with Sarah, my associate. We were doing some work, going to see our banker actually. And I get this message, frantic message. My brother was visiting, helping take care of my dad for 2 months before his family came. And I get this message, something about, the microwave and dad and the da da da. And I'm like, okay, whatever, deal with that later. So I come home and my house reeks. Like it is
I
nasty.
remember hearing of this on your
Yeah.
social media.
So
Yeah.
I was pretty freaked out, and I took a couple days before I went and saw the actual microwave and before I really talked to my dad, because I didn't want to react out of anger, because whatever he did, he did not do purposefully.
Yeah.
And you know, yeah, he didn't do it on purpose, right? But he has an obsession with sugar. And so I have these papadums, which are like a lentil flat thing, okay? Like a bread like
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Indian whatever, right?
Yeah.
Not pancakes, but they're the size of those mini pancakes you can buy at like
Poppadoms are
Leclerc.
crispy. Poppadoms are crispy, aren't they?
Yeah, they're crispy. It's like a good no carb thing or whatever.
Oh, really?
Anyways, um, my dad had taken the papadums that come in a foil package, put the whole thing in the microwave thinking they were pancakes,
Uh-oh.
set the microwave to like 30
12 hours.
minutes or yeah, like whatever
Yes.
you can do. And then was just standing in the kitchen, and the microwave's in the laundry room connected to the kitchen, and the smoke alarm's going off, and it's obviously like bad, and he was just confused. And my
Oh,
brother
he thought
think
the smoke alarm was sort of maybe the microwave saying it was ready or something like that.
I don't know, but that
Right.
thankfully the smoke alarm went off. I'm pretty sure my brother was sleeping, but thankfully that woke my brother up to come in, find my dad confused, unplug the microwave, and take care of that. And it
Good
had not
heavens.
burst into flames, but there literally was like a black mark on the wall. And I saw the microwave a couple days later, and it was pretty horrifying.
Yeah,
And the reality is, if you have someone is standing there in the middle of the kitchen with the smoke alarm going off and they don't have the capacity to figure out that that means turn the microwave off or like do something,
sure.
then you really have to think about that. And so that really scared me, not only for my father, but obviously my pets. My fiance was home, but he lives on the third floor, and he couldn't hear it there because the microwaves, the fire alarms are not hardwired, so they don't do that trigger thing where they all go off.
Oh, I
If one
see.
goes off, they all go off. Like
Know
that's how
about
it
that,
is.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's US code, is it, in a lot of places?
It's a US thing, and I really honestly have to look into it because it disturbed me that
Of
the
course,
alarm could be going off in a part of the house. And then, I mean, the house is not 10,000 square feet, it's like 3,000, 3,500. So
yeah.
it's big, but it's not like so ridiculous that, that should be the case. So, but that's probably a whole nother show on
Absolutely.
its own.
That's another another
Anyways, so point
respect.
being that that really kind of took some time, but that really freaked me out and got me thinking like, okay, disaster was averted, but not by much, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
And so that my dad has fallen several times, not wouldn't let us know. Like I was waking up in the middle of the night looking at the camera to see if my dad's in bed. I could see if his legs were hanging out. Then it's like 4 a.m. and I'm down there, having to help get him back into bed. And, it's just it is not the safest situation. He was not listening and to many of the things that we're trying to get him to do for his own safety.
Sure.
And he has an Apple Watch. He had the clicky buttons to ding me, and all the things you could do for safety around the house. But at
Hold
some
on a
point,
minute. So an Apple
yeah.
Watch has got a distress element to it as well, as if you need it.
Well, he could call me. Like in
Okay.
other words, if his phone was, at his recliner and he fell somewhere like in the bathroom, if he has the watch on, he could reach me ideally. But
Yeah.
again, mental capacity to do that can be waning.
Yeah.
and he is all there, but he's also sometimes not all there. Like there's
Okay.
definitely some more confusion. And, you know, you spend every time you go to the hospital for a week or whatever, it seems like the mental capacity like lowers.
Oh, bless you.
He's 83. And anyways, he, at the end of the day, I really just started thinking about it again. And I had looked into assisted living previously, but there was not availability. And I looked into it when my mother was sick and I thought she was going to be coming home. We
Mhm.
did have a live-in care at one point, which was a huge nightmare. Totally
Yeah.
different topic, different show.
Yeah. Okay.
It cannot be a nightmare, but the person we hired was crazy. So there's that.
Right.
And and yeah, so I ended up taking him over there once I went and saw the apartment. And I did bring Sarah with me, who spoke Portuguese, and we were able to freely communicate that way with the director. And there is some staff that speaks English, but it's limited, you know, it's not America. Uh, that said, the food is Portuguese. My dad is not thrilled with that. He does not understand soup, including my American homemade soup. He does not get into it. So it just
Oh,
is what it
wow.
is.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he now is in a 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom apartment
Hmm.
with a little front room that's got closets, you know, like a little entry room. And it has a kitchenette. He would have a cooktop available to him, but we made it not available. And he does have a microwave, but he has no metal. I've gotten him microwave safe, plastic, everything, you know,
Yeah.
soups, cups, spoons, blah, blah, blah. And so he can't make a mistake like that. And I also don't leave him any foil and stuff he could stick in the microwave. And so now he's getting checked on twice a night. He's getting meds 4 times a day per his doctor. He's getting uh, meals. He's getting really good care, and it's 9 minutes from the house,
Well, that's good.
and it's affordable ish, certainly more so than in the US. And I do have people that wanted specific questions answered, because I do have a Facebook moving to Portugal seniors and
Yes. Yeah. Can I
adults.
ask? I mean, can you tell
Yeah.
us what the costs are roughly for
Yes, I was going to do that. I just wanted to actually
brilliant.
pull these questions up too.
Well, while you're doing
So,
that, we've got Matty saying, try caring for an 84-year-old across the Atlantic. My girlfriend's dad lives alone in Curaçao and she lives in the Netherlands. That's another topic as well, isn't it? Staying in touch with elderly relatives elsewhere in the world. That is an issue for a lot
that's
of
a
people. I would
different aspect of all of
Yeah,
this. Yes.
absolutely.
So I do want to answer these questions because I think they're really good. So if I
Go
can
for
work
it.
on that.
Go for,
So
yeah, please do.
cost is always like the number one, right?
Yep.
So the cost, it's interesting. These are condominiums. They're called Condominium Don Dinis in Caldish. And they the base cost, so the cost for actually, you know, the service and the space, or not the space, but the overall space, the bigger space, is 1270 a month, so 1270 euros. Then there's a rent, because the condominium is actually owned by an investor, which is interesting, a whole
Isn't it?
different show and level.
Yes. Yeah.
But I love the idea that investors could pool together and put more of these homes together that we
Yes.
need,
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
particularly
Right.
for expats.
Oh, yeah.
And so 370 is what we pay to the investor. And that is a newer remodeled room versus an older one. So they can have older ones that are, I believe, are 300 a month and not 370. And
Okay.
then you also pay a level of care, and it's 60 euro for level 1, 100 euro for level 2, 160 for level 3. And so level 3 is wheelchair, you know, bedridden, like all the way level.
Yeah.
And the levels can vary depending on how the person is that month. So, and I haven't been billed yet, so I'm not sure where my dad's going to come in. He
Well,
mobilizes, so
that's
he should be
so
on the lowest level.
you can sort of pull in the care level that's required to suit the need, and then you'll build appropriately.
Well, they pull in the care that they need to give him and they bill you.
I got you. Hold on a
Um,
minute. Is there 3 parts already to this? So what does the basic give you before you
Well,
start
the
paying?
1270 doesn't give you anything because you need to pay the owner of the condo for their room. But the 1270 gives you, the place that's going to do the place itself is what
Right.
it gives you. So the overall, but the actual unit rent is part of that. So it's 1270 plus the 370. So
Yeah.
1270 plus 370, I think it was 1640. So 1640 is the base, and then it's going to be anywhere from another 60 to another 160. So 60 would make it 1700. So it's 17 to 1800 a month
Yeah.
for the base. It could be a little less if it was not a remodeled room.
That will include food. That's food and
This
accommodation
includes
at that point.
food, cleaning once a week, laundry, medication, them giving medication.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's all part of the base.
And the
Uh,
additional care costs are for extra care costs
They're
beyond
for,
food.
they're for extra level of care.
Right.
And then I also pay for physical therapy. So 20 physical therapy sessions is like €300.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you can buy them individually or buy them in a pack. So I just, have the pack of 20, which actually will probably go more than a month for him.
Yeah.
I do have a colorful microphone. Why, thank you. And
So Andrew Gilchrist, age 7.
yes,
Oh,
yes.
right. So carry on, please.
Okay,
I'll
okay.
stop putting comments up because I think they're distracting.
Yeah, I can't do I gotta focus on this because I'm
All right,
too.
all right,
Go.
I'll stop.
I can have my own show, Carl. Come on. Okay, so is he sharing his room or so he does have his own private space,
Yeah.
and they do have shutters on the windows. He's got 2 very large windows. He has really good sun exposure. We got lucky, and that's nice. There is no cooling. There is heating, but we would have to add like a like a transportable, what do you call this? Air conditioner thing. Yeah. But he likes it really warm. So I don't know that we'll need to do that because it's been pretty warm and he's happy as a clam. So, okay.
Happy as a
Um,
clam. Lovely. Okay.
yeah. So they do the medications. They would do supplements if I believe if I gave them those as part of his, here's all the stuff he takes. They do the pharmacy does their pill packs, and they have their own pharmacy. So it's another place they make money, and they bill you, of course, for their medications.
Yeah.
There are some specialty medications because he has a rare blood cancer. And so I do still go to EPO, which is the cancer hospital, his hospital in Lisbon, and pick up his specialty meds and bring those to them so that they can keep him on that. I
Okay.
don't know if there's a service for them to do that, but I just need to know that that's happening because it's the only thing that treats his blood cancer is this medication. So I just need to know for sure it's happening. So we do that.
Mhm.
And then let's see what else. Because he's still mobile, he can choose to either stay in his room all the time or he can choose to come down. And they will bring meals to the room. But they do have a really nice dining room and everybody has their own table. And the food's supposed to be quite good. And I did taste the soup that my dad wouldn't taste. Actually was good.
Okay.
So he can do what he wants. We also can take him out when we want. And we can visit when we want, relatively. If it's before 1 p.m., they don't like you to come because they're showering people and stuff. I brought a shower chair, so he has a shower chair for safety, and but they'll help him do all of those things. So what I like about it is that he can age in place there, and he doesn't have to move further, and that's really what I wanted, was a place he could really age up to. But I think the important part of that is also realizing that if you wait until your loved one has to have this level of care, it's really tough because now it's an emergency situation. And I
Yes.
actually briefly worked for caring.com doing phone calls where I would take calls from people like me that were going, oh, my dad almost burned the house down, or
Yeah.
whatever things were going on, and I would help place people in these sort of properties or private care homes. And I don't know that there is a official private care homes here, but I know they must exist to some extent. But again, it's the language barrier, and that is the hardest part, I think. I did make my dad a cheat sheet, like a plastic thing, 3-page sheet, and I got it laminated and put it, put a little binder ring on it, and that. And by the way, my last name's Binder, but part of the family was Binder, so you weren't wrong with the Binder.
Oh, I knew I had a 50-50
It's okay.
chance.
It's okay. We were Binder. We were Eastern
I will
European
remember
Binder.
it. Yeah, okay,
Binder, Bender. I think we were all of it. Anyways, excuse me. So he has this cheat sheet that's got, asking for a pain pill, and he can point to if he has pain somewhere or if he needs certain things. So it has a little introduction about him.
Let me just say, I think you're the most amazing daughter as well. This is incredible.
Oh gosh, I keep hearing that, but no, I don't know. It's just, what else are you supposed to do?
Yeah, I understand that, but not everyone does, and that's incredible what you're doing. And given that you're in a new environment, doing all of this as well.
Well, it's scary because I moved here I had the initial large chunk of money to buy the house, do the remodel, and all of that. Okay, but then my parents had the monthly income because they had Social Security and pension. Yeah. So I left my, 28 years as a real estate broker, successful 6-figure business, to come here. I wanted to move to Portugal, no doubt about it. It had nothing to do with my parents, but it became readily apparent that they needed help and that I was no way going to be able to afford to do that in the US because my house is tiny, little 1950s, 1-bathroom, bedroom condo. Yeah. And at the time I had like 8 rescue pugs. Okay. And
yes, you did.
Rescue senior dogs. Yes.
Right.
It's a good thing. Anyways, and so like, it's just, our houses were not compatible at the time, and it would have cost over $1 million or something to get the sort of property that we would have needed in Arizona. Yeah. And we still would have been a place I didn't want to live, like, way suburbs or I don't know what. So it wasn't realistic. So that's what helped prompt, okay, we need to look at Portugal, for a variety of reasons. But the scary part is my mom passes away November 1st. And they arrived November 1st of 22, and they arrived October 11th of 21. So a year later, right? And so her income's gone. And then now my dad, his income is going to help pay for him, right? Yeah. And so this all came to be like a lot quicker than I expected. So financially, it's a couple $1,000s a month, which, yes, technically he can afford. But I also still have to afford all the things I have to afford too. So it's been definitely a study of like, okay, get your business in gear, and business has been really good. Thankfully, I get great referrals and I get talked about in Americans and Friends and whatnot, which is wonderful, in a good way, talked about in a good way. Thank you all for that. And I'm sure in a bad way too, maybe. No, because it's Portugal, so we can't do that. It's terrible. I like transparency. So if you're going to say something, just say it. Love it or hate it.
I've noticed that. Yeah. And you deal with that brilliantly, I have to say. The people are making comparisons of the costs here, and it's a lot. It is a lot of money,
but a lot less expensive. So that I'm not belittling that, but I'm also just explaining my whole, I can speak to my experience, right? Yeah, we all can speak to our experiences. And so I know that's cheap. I know that's dirt cheap. Okay. I know in the US,
if you haven't got it, that's a lot.
Yeah. It's cheap. But guess what? When I take his income and I subtract his costs and our costs, like, which is fine. I don't expect to live off my, parents or whatever. So, but it is what it is. But it's all like more unexpected. Like, oh, that was quicker. I thought I would have like at least 6 months or a year longer to kind of get established and stuff like that. But it's all good.
Okay. Let me just add a couple of things.
Yeah.
Matty was thinking, answering your question about private care homes. He thought not so much here because the Portuguese take care of their elderly in the family. Andrew Gilchrist, who does have a good insight, I think, into Portuguese culture, is saying, sadly, Matty, is not the case all the time. Of course, it wouldn't be. And didn't say that, but 100%, but much more so than countries like the USA and UK.
Yeah,
And of course,
the
that's the
culture
lifestyle. The
is
lifestyle.
more
Yeah, of
the
course.
culture and the lifestyle. I mean, the reality is, money-wise, people can't afford to live on their own. A lot of, the locals and whatnot. So here, and you have these big houses that house multiple families because they had to,
Yeah, right.
and so a lot of these properties exist. Uh, they need help, or cosmetically at least. We could have a whole show about the decorating and Portuguese and all of that. But anyways,
I mean,
um,
so I think we're good for what 10 more months.
we got topics.
You might
We
need
got
to come back.
topics.
Yeah, you maybe need to come back more regularly.
I can do that. I can do that. I would love
Given
that.
today's wide ranging conversation.
No, so I think, the reality is in the US, this sort of care would be 3,000 on the low, probably
Yeah.
in like Alabama and, some little podunky sort of places. Sorry if you're from Alabama, but whatever.
Podunky. What does podunky mean?
Well, like, smaller.
Not
Like
five star.
if you were gonna go to like central Portugal, like it's cheaper, you know what I
Okay,
mean? Like
gotcha. Yeah.
different regions, or just or different states in the case often of the US, as well
Right.
as regions. Of course, there's
Yeah.
going to be more expensive areas in every state. So, but if you're going to be in Lisbon and you get care, it's or the Algarve, it's going to be more expensive, right?
Of course it is. Of course
Probably,
it is. And you
probably.
make a good point that there is obviously a business opportunity in this.
Investors to come
Ah,
in here and build us some more of communal type, independent type, but being able to age into type properties, because there's huge. I myself could probably fill your space.
yeah. Well, and I think I found the property. I've got a lot of things. We've got 3 minutes officially, and you
Okay.
you might want to decide what you want to stay for. I've got news just in: Portugal no longer closing the golden visa, amended, not abandoned. I've got a Portuguese man speaking that was sent to me by Raquel as a test to see how much we could comprehend of how
Oh
this particular
gosh.
man
I
speaks.
just passed. I just got my A1 A2
Well
certificate.
done,
So
congratulations on that.
I
Oh, that's the
probably
wrong button.
shouldn't have passed, but I'll take it
Okay,
because
yeah, you take it, definitely. And I've got to the Portugal, learn about Portugal quiz. When do you absolutely have to go?
I have to be at IMT at 12:15 in Leiria. So
Can we
I
crack
should
through?
go by 11:15, but I also need to
Okay,
feed this little bird
we
again.
won't be we
So
won't
I
be here
should
till
go by
11:15.
10:30, which I think your
Okay,
show
we
ends
we will be done by
10:30.
10:30 for sure. So,
Okay.
okay, so I want to involve you. Thank you so much for what you've told us about your father's care, and all that has stimulated and inspired in the conversation, which we will continue in another time. Tonight, Nuno from insurance will be on the Dream Team call, and he's got a new insurance policy that helps with elderly care. And I think he's going to be talking about the new funeral plan that they've been working on as well, because that's a whole nother area, of course.
Yes.
All of this is like mystery to so many of us, isn't it? And I'm glad we're having these conversations. So join us for the Dream Team tonight at 9 to talk with Nuno about that and what help you can get from an insurance point of view. When it comes to investing in a property, I found this wine cellar yesterday, and
Oh,
it comes with a house, which is really
nice.
convenient. That's the wine cellar of an amazing property called the Delgado Mansion that I was at yesterday, which sounds like a TV show,
Nice.
doesn't it? There's a gym, there's a wine cellar, there's a workshop, there's a big meeting space. There are 4 studio apartments on the basement level, which opens out onto the vineyard back garden. And
Wow.
above is a luxury house of many rooms, reception rooms, dining rooms, bedrooms with en suites, with 360-degree views of the countryside. This is on the market, over $1 million, but it would lend itself so brilliantly to a small home of the kind you're talking about, and luxurious by many local standards, and an investment property for this. And so I anticipate more of this happening. Of
Well,
people
there
going,
is a huge amount of people interested in, particularly, there's a lot of single women here, right?
yeah,
And but in particular, they're interested in like a semi-communal type of situation, like co-op housing. But if someone could offer something like that, if that sort of thing was available and offered aspects of care, like there's just like there's a lot of room for investing and growth in that, because who knows? I mean, I would be interested in something like that at some point, maybe. Who
Yeah, right,
knows?
right. And because the way we live is not ideal, is it? It's ideal for us for the sweet spot of a certain kind of lifestyle, and a lot of the rest of our life is not managed, or there aren't great options at the moment. And we've also got this mismatch of like old culture, new culture. So there's definitely, I'll call it an opportunity in this, and certainly a conversation. So let's keep having that conversation here. This just in, thanks to Bobby for sending me this, a news item. I can send it to anybody who wants to DM me on this. It's not for everybody, but it's interesting from the point of view of another political change. Maybe, if this has been reported correctly, Portugal no longer closing golden visa program, amended not abandoned. In a surprising shift of policy, Portugal's governing Socialist Party has proposed changes and revisions to the country's golden visa program, initially aiming to close the program entirely. The party now seeks to retain a significant portion of the program, excluding only real estate investments and capital transfer options. The sudden turn of events has industry experts and potential investors around the world very intrigued. We will keep following that.
That's not just like spam, like that's legit? Sorry, I had to plug my
Well,
mic.
it's from imperialcitizenship.com. Make of that what you will, and I'll send that.
But there's so much clickbait, and if you're just reading,
I know, absolutely right. So we've got to do our due diligence, as the Americans might say, the due diligence on this, and sort the wheat from the chaff. But I think any leads on that are important at the moment, to see what's what. The Learn About Portugal quiz of the day, putting Heather Binder on the spot here. What are Pam and John drinking here? Almost exactly a year and a day ago.
I actually know that one.
Okay,
Ginja.
good. Yes,
Ginja.
you might be right. You might not. The question actually is on the beginner level. Name the drink. There are two possible names for it. Heather might have one of them. The intermediate question, Heather, is what is special about the cup or copo from which they are drinking it? She knows that as well, don't you?
It's chocolate. It's a cup. It's a chocolate cup.
It might be. And the advanced question, A1, A2, Heather Binder, when asked con elas or Saint Elish, what might the pourer of the drink mean? So you can go to learnaboutportugal.com. So con elas or Saint Elish? Well, somebody's pouring you one of those drinks. They might say con elas or Saint Elish. What might they mean? You'll have to come back to learn. Yes, you've got the without something.
So without, Sam. Yeah, without. So congelo with ice.
No, good guess, but not correct on this occasion. You'll have to go to learnaboutportugal.com later on.
You're talking something somebody would say when they're pouring you ginja?
Yes, there is. You've got the drink.
Con copo, like with the chocolate cup.
There's a part to the drink which you may or may not want to have in your little cup there.
Well, I know you don't have to have the chocolate cup. So you can just do it in a shot glass. So I'm going to say con copo or sem copo.
I'm just going to leave that hanging there.
And I made up chocolate. I don't know how you say it in Portugal. It's cacao?
No, chocolate. Chocolate, I think, is transferable. Absolutely.
I don't know. Sometimes I think I just make up Portuguese.
I'm sure. Well, we all do. We all do that. Even the Portuguese make up Portuguese, so don't feel too bad about that. What? Can you hear this man? Could you hear him?
No.
You hearing that?
Barely. Not really.
Okay, I will. So you weren't able to make any of that out. That's a man.
I heard a noise or two, but no, I couldn't make any
noise or two.
Yeah, I'm constantly told I'm like hard of hearing, which is probably true because I do subtitles.
I will transfer my TV to a website near you so that you can have a go at that. Bairandi has called in, not literally, but he is out and about at the moment, and he is going to the wine on his way to the wine festival. I've lost your comment there, by Andy, but I did see. Oh, here it is. Bon dia. Malta popped in to say hi between morning walk and cycling to Anadia to have lunch with Mrs. Bairandi at the wine festival. If you're in the Bairrada district, the big old wine festival is happening there in Anadia. It's a great event. It's not just about wine. Typically at a Portuguese festival of anything, you're going to get everything else there as well, like agricultural.
Oh my God, there it is. It's the Wet Bed Gang.
Do you like them? Do you? What are? Oh, we've got
What?
music.
It's just the worst name ever.
Oh,
I don't know. Sorry, Wet Bed Gang. Maybe you have really good music.
Did we mention?
I mentioned it because we saw it on like a couple posters or whatever throughout town. We were like, we were talking about bad names and like how culturally like a name might sound good in one language and not so good in another.
It sounds like one of those new sex terms you were talking about earlier.
No, Wet Bed Gang does not sound like a new. No, I would say it sounds like an old. That's like you're 5 years old and you peed your bed thing,
Which is a brilliant name for a band. Come on, Zay Sid is headlining. So how about that?
Did you say that's in Fanadia?
Anadia, not Fanadia. Which is
Anadia. Okay,
we are now between Coimbra and Aveiro, but that's and of course there'll be plenty of wine at the Feira da Vinha e do Vinho. What a brilliant event, which of course, like many others that Bairandi serves up for us, you'll find at the Gumper map. Oh, there's my wine cellar again. No, I didn't mean to click that one. I meant to click this one. There it is, the Anadia Wine Festival. Find out more at our map at goodmorningportugal.com there. I'm going to go out with some music. Did you listen to the track I sent you? What did you think of it?
I did. Actually thought it was nice.
Yeah, me too. I think he's amazing, this young man I mentioned before, Diogo, who works at our meetup cafe, Palmera. He's one of the staff there. He's also a very gifted musician, and that's what we'll finish with today.
I'm going to be coming to those now.
Excellent. Now you finished your language. Oh, we'll see you there.
I'm out of school. So now, like, I have no good excuse. And it's
That's true. I shall remember that. Now, on that note, I knew I had something to mention about meetups. How was this?
Oh, this was awesome. So I hosted our first boots on the ground, whatever, common meetup thing. And Cabaret Voltaire hosted us, and they're amazing. And it's a great lounge in town and really cool, wonderful people. And we had 25, 30 people, and which is pretty awesome because I really didn't put it out there in any great capacity. I was just really, in the middle of everything. So that's really good. And a lot of people that couldn't come said they're coming next time. So I think it'll be even more robust, which is nice. The place only holds like 40 people. So I think we're going to fill it up. But it was a super fun time. I met some new people, met some people again that got a better chance to say hi to and introduce around. And one of my clients, I have to shout out to Kelly because she got off the plane at 3 p.m. and we picked her up and she came with us from 6 to 8. And she just moved here, her first day in town from Colorado, which I don't know how she did that straight off the plane. So I'm going to shout out. I have one more shout out to Johnny Cocktail, who tells me, you know who that is. So he is a client of mine now who he has said I could, divulge that. And anyways, cool guy. And so, yeah, he's out there.
He's also a fly assassin. This is Johnny Cocktail at work. Only 5 seconds. Check this out.
Gosh, did he get one of the salt gun things?
No, he talked about salt guns. He uses a rubber band, which I think might mean something different in America, but elastic band. He does that, and that might get more animal welfare people.
I was just gonna say, I was saying like love all animals and stuff. Like not ants, flies. I just can't. And then I've had moths lately. I think they came in my bird food, and I was letting them be for like a while, and then they're getting out of control. They're just like
love most animals. That's the message today.
Well, I honestly try to get them out the door. I'm one of those people, catch this daddy long leg spider, put him outside. We helped a beetle yesterday,
Oh my goodness.
He was the biggest beetle I've ever seen. He was like this big on my patio. And my dog, I think, Mark already
Is
go.
this in your articles of registration or your company report, as well as helping people move to Portugal? Part of the important work of Boots on the Ground in Portugal is to help struggling animals, which you do so brilliantly, Heather.
We do. We also fundraise for Ready Leonardo, which is one of our local rescues that helps cats and dogs. And we try to raise awareness to them because they're not so well known to the expat community, but they're 6 minutes from my house and great little rescue that really needs more support and some volunteers and dog walkers and the whole nine. So Rede Leonardo, do you have a link for them or something you can throw up?
We have a little clip in our YouTube
Okay.
channel about Red Leonardo with you talking about them, so we can definitely make sure. In fact, in our Learn About Portugal resources, I must make a list of animal sanctuaries around the country.
That would be really good. And then also, I just one more other thing. The condominium my dad is in, I'm thinking that people might want to like have that information. Not that they have all this availability, because of course that's a big thing.
Yeah.
But I do want to just have that link or whatever available. So I can send that to you and you can put that somewhere people can
I'll make
find
sure
it.
I'll put it in the show notes for today. You've been
Okay.
amazing. Yeah, and we're
Because we're
drawing
gonna get
towards a little
yelled
bit of
at.
music and chilling out. Chocolate
There you go.
is the right word, not to be confused with cacao or cocoa, which is coconut, or
Coconut,
even
right.
cacao, which is
Poop.
poop. You don't want to be ordering that on you anything, do you? Could you sprinkle some cacao on there? No, you've got the wrong
Poop?
bar. Yes.
Here we go with the pronunciation. I know
Yes,
it's the
that's
whole
right.
thing.
Get that pronunciation as
poop.
well as punctuation right.
Okay.
Cabaret Voltaire is a good name for a band, if not Wet Bed Gang.
Well,
I knew,
Cabaret Voltaire was a band.
yes, of
An
course.
old band way back. Do you not
And
recall that?
I knew them. I knew Mal and God rest his soul, Richard, and worked with them from time to time in Sheffield in the
Really?
UK. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, cool. Cabaret
Richard
Voltaire is
passed away not long ago.
awesome. We need to support our local business. It's
Yeah.
owned by a local Portuguese gentleman, Paulo, and Natasha, his wife, who is
Brilliant.
so cool. She's from London by way of Jamaica, and she has the coolest accent in the world.
I
There
bet
you
she
go.
does. Yeah, I want to
does.
meet her already just from that introduction.
She's a sweetheart. Yeah.
And there you go. That's where it is. That's your third Tuesday of every month, right?
Third Tuesday of every month, so it's the same week I'm on I'm on here for
That
our
keeps it
podcast, same
them,
week,
doesn't it? Yeah.
but earlier in the week. So yeah, come and meet us. That's the plan at this point, to keep that going. And it was a great time. So, and it's
Brilliant.
nice to
Okay.
have a available meetup at a different time of day, because some of the other meetups around town are weekdays or earlier, or you can't
like
get a
mine.
cocktail.
Right.
And
Yeah. It's good to have a good spread of times across the day and month. And that's that link for the care home that Heather was talking about.
Thank you.
Nothing to do with condoms. Condominio dom. Condominio dom.
Condominio Don Dinis. And
I would put that whole link in, because if you start searching for condom,
just
Dinis, you're going to get all sorts of results, aren't you? So put the
whole
whole thing in.
the whole thing. I mean, who knows where you go?
Right. And we've kept, look, Matty wanted to go, and we kept his attention. Good job, Heather, today. Thank you for being here. So let's last word to you, and then we'll chill out with this lovely bit of music from our pal Diogo.
Okay. Last bit of I'm supposed to say something witty or whatever now?
Yeah, you're on the spot now to say something. Oh no, actually, we'll do it for you. We'll do it for you. As a special, we'll dedicate these to your dad. Which, if you remember to share these with your dad later, these are the dad jokes. We'll finish with this, and then we'll have some music. When I want something a little healthier than an ice cream sandwich, I usually go for an ice cream salad.
All right.
Sorry, wrong jingle. Although that would have been appropriate, I've got to say. Thanks to me, you will soon start seeing for display only signs on the toilets at Leroy Merlin. That is brilliant. I can see a copy of the daily newspaper on there. Please, sir. There's a fine. What? I'll only be another 5 minutes. There's a fine line between being funny and being a smart ass. I have no idea where that line is, though. I think you and I both have occasional.
I was going to say, like, this one I relate to. Yeah.
Well, that one's especially for you. Love to your dad. No doubt when you see him soon, probably today.
I need to see. Yeah, it's time. It's been a couple days, so trying to go over there and supplement him with some, things with sugar because that's what makes him happy. And so
Yes, please do. And say hi from the Good Morning Portugal show.
I will. So his name's Jerry. I will say hi, and he may watch this. I might put this on for him even, so I'll get to see it, and that would be fun.
Hi,
Yeah.
Jerry. Great. Take care there, and make sure you get some of those nice sweet things. What's his favorite?
Oh my God, just anything chocolate. He loves ice cream. He loves apple pie.
Then
but like American apple pie.
Do you know the Copper? Do you know the Copper apple pie?
No.
Do you know the shop Copper? COPA.
No.
Oh, just outside Caldas on the road towards Sao Martinho and Tornada, there's a wonderful grocery shop called Copper, where they have it's a chain around this part of Silver Coast.
Okay.
And they have apple pie and apple tarts in there, made with the the maçã de alcabaça.
Nice.
I think it's a pretty good approximation towards the American apple pie. American friends recommended to me. I love it. The creme fraiche or similar on their apple pie is superb. Your dad's probably going to want cream and sugar on top of it as well.
Yes.
But that's a great apple pie. That's a great apple pie, I think.
Okay, cool. COPA. Okay, I will look out for that. Yeah, absolutely. If anyone has more questions, they can also join or go to the Moving to Portugal page on Facebook, which is called Portugal Seniors. So I'm gonna give you the link, Carl. It's that group. And if you could share that would be cool.
Cheers to all us smart asses as we finished together today. And good luck, Heather, from Lord Gilchrist as well. You've been blessed with luck from an English lord this morning. Not many people can say that.
Oh, nice. So hopefully that trickles down to Marvin the dove.
Yes, and our best to Marvin. Best
to Marvin. I'm going to go try to get some more antibiotic and food into him now. So,
brilliant. And we'll find out how he is next time when we see you. Take care. Bye for now. All the best.
Okay.
To you.
Bye.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Some music now. Take care, everybody. We'll see you tonight at the webinar. Team, bye. Oh, I was trying to play a video there, and I ended up being given the open a file command. Let me just set this up a little bit better for you. This is Diogo, who works at the Palmera Cafe, where we have a weekly meetup between 1 and 3 on a Wednesday. Started talking to him. He's going to move to Porto, I think, to do a music course. I said, well, we've got some lovely musicians really skilled, talented, brilliant musicians in our community. Let me introduce you to Ron Rogers, to the Blisses up there in Porto. He was delighted by that. And we made friends on Facebook, and then I discovered his music, which I think is sublime. This is Darkest Night, featuring his friend and a fellow gifted vocalist, Anya, and you'll see Sao Martinho de Porto here in this video as we chill out for the rest of the show. So maybe see you on the webinar tonight at 6 o'clock. That's the wealth management special with Holborn Assets, and 9 o'clock for the Dream Team. And we'll see you in the morning for a bit of Feel Good Friday action, of course. Frank should be with us tomorrow, along with the wonderful Reverend Joe. See you then, friends. Bye for now. Have a great day.
that you said